Hi there. In today's video, we discuss how a software developer can make the transition into project management. We'll answer the question, what are the steps necessary for me to become a project manager? Let's get into that right now. Before we start, I want to let you know of my course, Preparing for the IT Project Management Interview. You'll learn how to structure your past experience and resume to excel at your next interview. Also, please remember to subscribe to stay up to date with future videos related to project management. The link for this particular course can be found on my website as well as in the description below. So with that, let's get started. So firstly, we need to identify the differences between software development and project management. In my personal experience, I was also a software developer that transitioned into project management. And to say the least, it was a pretty big transition. So what I wanted to outline here were some of the activities that software developers work on and kind of contrast that with the activities that the project manager works on a daily basis. And normally here for the software developer, you're going to work on activities such as receiving the requirements and understanding the requirements to be developed, developing the system's design, developing the code, as well as unit testing the code. And then from there, you normally coordinate with the testing team to fix the defects. And if you have this available at your organization, there may be periods of time where, especially during code freezes, maybe you guys are doing code refactoring to make your code better. So in essence, all of the work that you're working on is more technical in nature, and there is communication, but most of the work you will be doing is technical. Now, on the project management side, it's almost the exact opposite. On the project management side, you will be more coordinating with the team on the project charter, developing project schedules with the help of the team. You also are going to be generating project artifacts, and some of these artifacts may require input from the project team. Also establishing project governance procedures. Now, these project governance procedures are established by the project management office, but also you're going to have to communicate these because sometimes on your projects, you may have resources who are not familiar with PMO processes, and you have to communicate that to them. Another thing you'll have to do is holding a team accountable for completed tasks. It's not just being organized and using technology effectively, the project management tools effectively, but you got to hold the team accountable. And then ultimately, and one of the most important things is that you have to manage communication as well as changes to your projects. And this is going to involve lots of communication with members of the project team as well as the stakeholders. Your past experience, so you might be wondering, how do I leverage my past development experience to kind of frame it when I do apply for a project management job? And the good news is that you can leverage your current experience in the sense that, how did you organize and prioritize tasks to complete a software development project? So before undertaking your coding assignments, there was some planning there as to what you need to accomplish and certain exit criteria for you to decide that you're successful. So how did you prioritize that, and how did you structure your work so that you could be successful? And also, what methods did you use to report out progress? Like, for example, if you're in Agile, was there like any burn down charts that you used or any types of defect reporting that you use? Because one aspect of project management that employers like to see is to how did you report out information to management? And then another thing here is what types of communication did you manage? Was it through emails? Did you guys meet in Scrum calls or face-to-face Scrum meetings in the huddles? Usually employers they're very interested in how you communicated with your teammates, and they want to see that. And what is the value of the product you were providing to the company? And as you get more interested in project management and you undertake your development projects, try to get more interested in how the project that you're working on contributes to the overall strategy, not just getting getting all the requirements and implementing the code and testing it, but maybe you can coordinate with a project manager And you can even speak to them as to advice as to how you can get into project management, but then also how the projects that you work on contribute to the overall strategy of the company. And then here you can put down, like, when you were doing the system design, who were some of the people that you interacted with? A lot of times employers, they like to see the people that you interacted with from a communications perspective on the projects that you worked on. So it would be good to note that before you go on your next interview. And then here, what happens, I wanted to point out some of the aspects of project management, and it's definitely more than just using technical tools. So, being very technical in the past, you may assume that one of the major success factors is, if you're very good with Microsoft Project or Jira, this would lead to a successful career as a project manager. And although knowing those products it is essential, but it's not the definitive activities that you would need to do to be a successful project manager. A lot of it is communications, and it's a lot of, if you're the type of software developer who doesn't communicate much currently, you have to get really good with the communication aspect. And one of the parameters here is, if you're considering project management, you have to understand that you're going to be needing to hold people accountable to get their tasks done. Because before you were receiving assignments, now you're the one kind of giving out the assignments depending on the project scope. And you have to get good at getting estimates from resources and then holding them to it, making sure that they complete it on time. And you have to get into the habit of escalating issues when you receive blockers. So, like, for example, you as a software developer, if you encounter blockers, you report that out. So as a project manager, what's going to happen is that now you have to manage those blockers and not just wait until it's resolved for you. So you have to really manage that. And like I mentioned, leveraging and mastering technical tools like Microsoft Project or some of the project artifacts or Jira, this is definitely not enough. It's good. It's a nice to have, but there's more on communication, which is more valuable, and also knowing how to ask questions as well as extracting information. And what I would recommend, if you feel that you're lacking in that area, I would strongly recommend if you take courses on communications management, assertiveness, or leadership type of courses, because if you're strictly a technical person and you want to move into project management, it's going to require kind of like a mental shift as to what you've been doing in the previous career. So, and another thing here, you have to accept the fact that you're going to be accountable for the entire project, no matter what happens. You can't just sit back and say, hey, I can't connect to this database because I don't have the credentials. You have to really resolve those issues. It's your responsibility to remove any obstacles from any of your teammates, and you're accountable for the whole project in that regard. You have to know when to escalate when necessary. And you also have to establish close relationships with the stakeholders so they can help you out. You're not alone, and you're definitely going to be in a position where you're going to need the help of your teams. And with high-level escalations, your stakeholders can definitely help out and get things moving for you. But the critical thing is how you properly communicate to them what the issue is, and that's going to take some practice. And then here, it's also tempting to focus on the software development aspect of the project and kind of look over other things. You have to look over all aspects of the project. It's not just being a standout on the software development or the sprint planning. There's also a financial aspect to projects, such as budget planning, as well as cost management, that you have to really manage well. So there's a lot of different aspects to project management, much more than software development. And then finally here, get into the habit of questioning everything you hear. You will get status from people, and you will, if there's something that's not clear to you, or you're about to walk out of the meeting not understanding something, you have to get into the habit of continually asking questions until you're satisfied with the information given to you. And, it's not just information, but it's also information regarding issues and the plans to fix those issues. You have to understand what the remediation plan is, not just know about the issue, but also how you're going to fix the issue. And this is also especially true, like when you're getting estimates from resources. You can't just write down numbers that the resource gives to you. If they're telling you that it's going to take a month to develop one web page, you have to kind of step in and question that estimate. And you have to get into the habit of questioning what you're receiving from the team. So in that way, you have the most accurate information and you can manage your projects most effectively. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe. Also, please visit my website to gain access to free project management templates and discounts to online project management courses. All information is in the description down below. Thanks for watching.